Step in.
Hey there, everybody.
Hey.
Happy Tuesday.
Yeah. Happy
Hope
25th.
that, yeah, it's May 25th. How did it get to be like the end of May is
I
what I
don't
want to
know.
know.
I remember saying, May the 4th be with you. And now it's the 25th, 3 weeks later.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Haley Gray. I'm a speaker, author, marketing person. We're going to be talking about strategy tonight. Hey, and this is my friend Victoria Bentley,
Hello.
attorney, speaker, author, a Wonder Woman of many, skills, entrepreneur, business owner, grow businesses, sell businesses. And tonight we're going to be talking about kind of an interesting topic. And, we're going to be talking about why you need a plan and sticking to a plan and a strategy and what happens when you don't.
I've got something to say about that. And how easily it is to be distracted by shiny things. If you don't have a plan, you get distracted because it's the newest, shiniest, best pitch. Here come the marketers, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you get distracted. You go out, if you don't have a plan, you get off the map, you get off the road, you get lost, you get a cashectomy performed. If you're not careful, you need a plan.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the interesting thing because in business, there are tons of squirrels and shiny objects. And there's all these people selling you the latest and greatest, most amazingest, like fabulousest thing that is guaranteed to who's he watches it you into success. And it's going to be amazing.
And it's always their dream.
Oh, yeah. And they're going to sell you and they're going to make it your dream. And
it's their dream.
And the thing I always have to do with people, and this is kind of one of the realities that I live is, there is always going to be somebody contacting my clients, trying to sell them the latest website that's going to bring them more clients, or, the latest technology, the latest this, the latest that, the latest the other. And, you need to do all of this stuff in your business. And I find that a lot of times that's really not true. That it's really a cashectomy. It's worse than a cashectomy because it's a distraction away from reaching what your goal is. So, you're over here trying to achieve whatever it is, but, you're losing sight of the fact because there's a shiny object over here and it leads you down this whole merry path before you get back onto the main trail again.
I had a conversation with somebody about this today, Haley, and they were telling me about they have hired a marketing firm, and there were 3 areas that they wanted to increase in their business, and that will increase the bottom line. And I said, well, before you do all of this, how are you leveraging the website you've got and the social media you've got? And the answer was, I don't know, but they're going to look at that. And I thought, well, they're going to look at that for what, 25,000? When my company wanted to get a website that was current, we had a website, and it's a technical company, it's an engineering company. This is not it's not aesthetics. It's all numbers, and anyway. And it was my job to bring in different firms to get the website. And the difference in the prices, I mean, we had some that were 6 times the price of others, and they weren't promising anything any different. It's fascinating to me that when you start a process in a business without the strategy, and that's what you and I are talking about, when you don't have the plan, how you get off the path, how you're distracted by shiny things, or we can do this for you, or we can. And the question needs to be really, who are, for example, website, whose website have you done? Who are your references? I mean, I think websites are kind of like the gold rush days in California.
Mm-hmm.
It's get rich quick schemes for kids who've taken classes in college on how to build a website, and they don't know schnitz about business. They don't know schnitz about grown-ups. They don't know schnitz about marketing. They only know how to manipulate ones and zeros.
Well, and a lot of times they've learned how to use Wix or Weebly. Maybe they can do WordPress. They have no idea how to get a website that actually converts. They don't know how to build SEO into the website. And it's, 18 clicks to put something into your cart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And people don't have that kind of patience.
No.
Yesterday,
and then the client wants to know why it can't just be fixed without having to redesign the website and start over again from scratch, because you have to rebuild the entire thing over from the ground up to fix the 18 clicks to get something into your cart. I mean, it's just a nightmare.
It's pulling our hair out.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday was the first day of Dan Bongino's podcast, his radio show. And Westwood One gave him the 12 to 3 slot after Rush Limbaugh died. And I knew he was going to give a tribute to Rush Limbaugh. I wanted to hear it. It took me 35 minutes to find out what radio station I could listen to that would carry it. And Dan Bongino show, Westwood One, list of stations. And anyone else would have given up after 35 minutes, but I wanted to hear his tribute.
Mm-hmm.
And so I stuck with it. And I wondered how many people just threw up their hands after 2-3 minutes of trying to find this, because it took 18 clicks to get there, because people just aren't thinking. So we got to have a strategy. Hello, Tish. And hello, other friend here with what looks like 3 either baked potatoes or peanuts. What am I looking at there?
Hand claps.
I'll be dipped. It is to you too, but
right?
I gotta use the glasses, girls.
But this all boils down to like understanding like what the goal is, putting a plan together, having a strategy in place, and leveraging what you're doing until the cows come home. Before you invest any more money,
it'll cost you a fortune.
Well, and here's the thing is every time you change directions, every time you update your website, every time and I do website development. So, this is a thing we deal with. Every time I update a client's website, like we rebuild it from scratch and we're, updating, everything. We're redoing the mood boards and the themes and doing all that. It is time consuming and it is expensive, both for the client and for us, because the client has to give us copy. Or if we write copy, they have to review it. They have to approve it. They have to look at all of the mock-ups. They have to go through all of this stuff in order to end up with a website. It is a massive investment. And I can't tell you how many times people are, changing websites like they're changing their shoes. And I think to me, it's a form of distraction to maybe hide why we're not doing so well in our business.
Oh, that's a very good point.
Or
you said that,
or it's okay, so the marketing's not working. We're going to change the website. Yes, there may be cases where the marketing isn't working because of the website, but I'll be honest, there's a lot of things that we can do to get around that. But I mean, there's definitely a point to have to change it. But the way that I see people like getting sucked into the, oh my gosh, this website will convert 20,000% better, and that you're going to make a bajillion more dollars, unless you have an ongoing content strategy and an ongoing SEO plan, and you have a sales funnel built into that website, it's not going to yield bupkis more because you happen to have pretty videos on the front.
And it has to be, like you said, like we're talking about tonight, it has to be a strategy. It can't just be, I'm going to do this project and then walk away. It's ongoing work. It's on, it's loading articles that you've written. It's loading white papers. It's loading new content. It's loading videos. It's loading
case studies. Oh, look, that's ongoing investment. Either you're doing it or you're paying somebody to create that content. And it is, I'll be honest, hella expensive to do that.
So, okay, since we're talking about strategy, should a company then that has, whatever, I can't even begin to say what budget or what number of people, but should they have a designated marketer in their company who devotes how many hours a week or a day to throwing something on that website that's going to boost the business that is going to be beneficial to them?
It depends. It depends on what the business is. It depends on how big the business is. Can you afford to pay somebody basically a full-time salary to do that?
And most people can't, especially new companies. So let's talk about the people who are trying to get to the point where they can afford a marketing person, but they need to.
Right.
When I had a new website, I was the first attorney in my county to have a website. And let me tell you, folks, it took, oh my gosh, it took thousands of dollars every month to do what I wanted to do. And that meant you don't go on a trip. That meant you're eating peanut butter sandwiches. You're doing whatever it is you got to do to build the business. Then after you've built it, and before Google changes their mind and their platforms and their whatever all the frickin' time to Sergey Brin, by the time you do that, you're so far ahead of the pack because it's a discipline. You got to focus on it. You got to keep at it. And you might not have the money for a full-time marketing person like I didn't 20.
And that's why you have to have a strategy and a plan, right? That you are paying a marketing firm to write the content, and you have to approve it or deny it. Or, maybe you're working in tandem. You write this one, I write this one, or, I'll start it, you finish it, and then we'll take a peek at it before it gets put on my, company's website, whatever it means. But it's an ongoing strategy. It can't just be something you just kind of throw up and hope it sticks.
And it's not a once and done. It's like watering plants, otherwise they die.
But it's like every other process in our businesses, right? And we're talking about websites here, but this could just as easily be, the latest and greatest CRM or the latest and greatest,
Great point. Remember the time
whatever
when
system
had to have Salesforce? Salesforce is, oh my gosh, expensive. Oh my gosh, difficult to learn. Oh my gosh, your people don't want to stay ahead of that learning curve, so they don't use it, and you've invested gazillions of dollars. You can say it's a great thing, but if your people aren't going to use it, if you're not going to work the platforms you have, it's like having a Rolls Royce in your swimming pool. It might look shiny, but it doesn't do anything for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this is part of that, shiny object syndrome. And, I'll be honest, use what you've got until it doesn't serve you anymore before replacing it. It can be new computers. How many times do you see people replacing their computers, their desktop machines, frequently, more frequently than they absolutely have to, because it was fun.
Well, not for me. I replace them when they're slow and they're not doing what they're supposed to do.
Okay, yeah.
And the car in my driveway is a 2012, and I still really like it, and it still really runs well. And remember the people
you drive it until the wheels fell off.
Yeah, or people who had to buy a new car every year. What the heck does that mean?
Yeah, and I'm getting ready to buy a new vehicle to replace one of ours, because we replaced the other one last year because it had 280,000 miles on it, and I said I would drive it until the wheels fell off. Well, I did drive it until the wheels fell off. We found the wheel, we put it back on the car and drove it another 2 years, and another 50,000 miles. So I can't say that I'm going to drive a car until the wheels fall off. But I basically drove that one into the ground, and now I've got another one that we've driven into the ground. It's an 08 with 275,000 miles on it, with the bumpers that my son has played bumper cars in a few times because learning to drive. So they're held on with duct tape, a wing, and a prayer. And the car looks entirely disreputable.
Airplane, and it is in perfect shape. It's in perfect shape.
Yeah, don't let my children near it.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, a friend of mine said that at lunch the other day, I really have trouble with spatial things. And I thought she was going to talk to me about being an architect or geometry or something like that. She said, yeah, when I try to park a car, I usually hit the person behind me. And I
That
thought,
was my mother.
you shouldn't be driving if that,
Mhm.
or you need to take lessons, something, but you've got to stop harming cars. I just thought that was so funny.
My mother ended up in a jail in Venezuela because she backed into somebody else, and it's illegal to have an accident in Venezuela. So, they reported the
Right.
accident and she got carted off to jail, and my dad had to go bribe her out.
Oh, God.
So yes, my
Right.
mother could hit anything. But, realistically, there is this thing in business, keep your eyes on the goal. Going after a minimally viable product until, you don't have any other choice. And being super frugal, because that's how we put the money back in our pockets.
You make a very important point, but stop for a minute. You got to know what your goal is. I mean,
Ah,
before you get out of bed in the morning, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 3-year plan? What was
where
the,
are you going?
yeah,
And why are you in this handbasket in the first place?
who was it that taught me the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? 5 years, 4 months, 3 days, 2 hours, um, 1 minute. And what are you going to do in those time frames? What are the goals in those time frames? And that really made me stop and think about, what am I doing? What am I doing in 5 years? What am I
Mm-hmm.
doing in the next 10 minutes? And that, you tend not to get as sidelined by the shiny stuff if you've got your eye on the prize. I had the most
Mm-hmm.
wonderful week last week, that a high school friend and her husband came and stayed with us, and they'd never
Mm-hmm.
stayed here before. And they are some of the hardest working people I've
Mm-hmm.
ever met. And they're now retired. As
Mm-hmm.
of this spring, they're both retired. And he had, amongst other things, and I was so impressed by this. He did not have family money. He just worked hard. And he said, my whole family pooled our savings. He said 5 of us pooled our savings and we bought a pony keg, which, for those of you who don't live in those regions of the world, it was a drive-through place that you could buy beer and soda pop and, all right, we call them pony kegs. And that was the start of the business. And from there, we bought our first rental property. And from there, anyway, they ended up with 66 rental properties, and each of them had jobs outside of the rental properties. And I thought about this, and I said, how did you get there? And they said, well, we had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I want to be in 3 years. And she said, a lot of times our friends were going to such and such for dinner, and
Mm-hmm.
we knew it was outside of our budget if we were to meet our plan. And it's so funny that we're talking about this. I wish I could have
Mm-hmm.
called her and said, watch our program tonight, because you don't see that kind of discipline. But when you see people with that kind of success, and we're talking self-made success here,
Mm-hmm.
what is it behind it? Is that they had a plan and they worked that plan, militantly worked that plan.
Diligently, yeah. And they
Yeah.
didn't, keep on the squirrels. I think that the
Yeah.
businesses that are the most successful are the ones, and the owners that are the most successful are the ones that are savvy about how and where they're choosing to spend their money.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you're not duplicating efforts. You're not throwing away money unnecessarily. Yes, you have to invest sometimes. Absolutely. I make huge investments in my
Absolutely, you have
business.
to. You can't
Um,
be the CEO who just keeps skimming off the profits. Like, I've seen so many third generation family business. Grandpa did what my friends did. They scraped what they had together to start the business. And then they had enough money to send their child off to Harvard
mhm,
or Princeton, who then came in and ran the business. And that child is now making 20 million a year and has his own set of children. And that set of children have drug problems, have pregnancy problems, have whatever,
mhm.
because none of the discipline is there. However, the love of luxury goods is, right? And there's no plan. I had a situation today with a 30-year-old young man who needs a lawyer. And we had a conversation. I suggest that you call this person, and this is why, and this person is just right for your situation.
Right.
And you know what the answer was? Can you call him for me? And I thought, you're 30 freaking years old. If you want an end result, which was a very just end result because he was injured in a car accident, get your medical bills paid instead of you paying them, then you've got to be able to step up. And that's part of the plan, is the courage and the discipline to step up when it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
And make the tough
always
decisions sometimes, even when it's uncomfortable.
or unpopular. Like,
Mm.
sorry, honey, we're not going out for dinner. We're not going on vacation because we've got to save X number of dollars because we've got to reinvest in the business, or we've got to buy another laser, or we've got to buy another water jet, or whatever it is.
Whatever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, and you're strategic about, are we buying new office furniture? Or are we, making this investment over here, buying another laser? Which one's it going to be? And you have to make those tough decisions and keep your eye on the ball. And, the laser may be the better investment or not.
And as a business owner, more so than any of my friends, we've reinvested and reinvested and reinvested in this business. Mm-hmm. And this has worked well, but it's also kept our people employed. They can now send their kids to college. They can own houses. They can do things like that. Or I could have looted from, we've got $1 profit. Well, you take 50 cents. I'll take 50 cents. Oh, wait, something broke. We don't have the money to fix it. Oh, well, we'll have to wait till next month. Meanwhile, we can't fulfill orders. We can't make our customers happy. And I think a lot of people get into that. And we had friends who had a father who had an incredible business. And he was the second generation. And his Princeton-educated third generation sons who drank too much and, white powder and all that stuff, couldn't agree on the type of company car when one of them thought he should have a Ferrari. And guess what? 3 years later, there's no company. And a whole lifetime of dad and grandpa working to build this. And you're so self-indulgent, you want a Ferrari, when really, if you were looking at the company and what it needs and what the plan is, you'd realize you needed a new piece of equipment, not your frickin' Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
It's just stupid.
I get it.
Stupid. And it's lazy. And it takes discipline to stay on a strategy. It takes, and we're not.
And on a budget, finances.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
But all of this, and the thing about this too is like knowing where to invest your money and staying on a budget. At the end, budget doesn't have to be a dirty word, but that's where the fortune is being smart with it.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you don't know how to do this, or look towards the people who you see are winners and say, will you teach me how to be that winner? And 9 times out of 10, people love to share their knowledge. When they've done well and you recognize that they've done something right and done it well, they're gracious to share. I have had mentors my whole life in various careers, and you have to remember to thank them. And I got a phone call the other day from somebody who is much younger than I am, and he has obtained very great success and won a couple of honors at his company. And he called me in tears because I had taken the time to write a handwritten note to say that I was really impressed with his hard work, and that I don't see as much of it as I'd like to see in people his age. And I know that he's deferred gratification. And that's what I'm talking about, deferring gratification to do the right thing to get ahead in business. And he just couldn't believe that somebody would care to write a note. So that's another thing. Send people notes. point out the good stuff. Make that part of the plan, is thank the people who are up there on your way up,
Hmm.
and then pay it forward. Help people come along too. That
Hmm.
always has to be part of the strategy. I
Yeah.
think God wants that of us. I really think that
Hmm.
generousness, that example setting, that um, I think that's really important.
Yep. No, I agree. And this
So,
is just
what is
important
one
stuff.
thing in your strategic plan right now that you're working on? And I had said the 5 4 3 2 1, and I can't
Hmm.
remember if I said it to you or if I said it here,
You
but
said it here. Yeah.
okay, 5 years, 4 months, 3 days, 2 hours, 1 minute. What are you doing in that time frame? And make that part of your plan,
Hmm.
and you can fall back on it.
Yeah. I love it.
So what are you struggling with what is one thing that you are going to focus on in your strategic plan in our last couple of minutes here?
Well, definitely, I've been hiring people, and we are training and onboarding and working through the kinks of people and technology and all the fun things.
Okay.
That's going to be my 4, 3, 2, and 1, probably.
And my strategy is to make sure that, yeah, Trisha's got it. Make sure that I sit down and write every day. Even if it's 500 words, I got to write every day and get in that habit and develop
Mhm.
those good habits.
Yep, absolutely. I love it.
I do
Very
too.
cool. Thank you guys for sticking with us tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah,
We'll see you guys next Tuesday. It'll be awesome.
it will be. You all take care. Have a good week. And I hope you have lots of sunshine and good strategy, good plan, and great success.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Thanks. Bye-bye.